Hey guys, welcome back and Merry Christmas Eve! I wanted to do a special video for you guys. It's a tag, another tag, that's been floating around BookTube, and it's Twas the Night Before Christmas book tag. I thought that it was ever so fitting for the occasion. So without further ado, here is the Twas the Night Before Christmas book tag. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Choose a book that kept you up so late that everyone else was asleep. In the first book that I remember keeping me up late, or not really late, but I remember getting up really early one morning to read a Goosebumps book. I think it was like Night of the Living Dummy or something like that. And I was sitting on the couch and I was really enthralled in the book, which is super creepy and scary for a child. And all of a sudden, my basement door started creaking open, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning and the house was dead silent. And so then I was like on the couch, all scared, staring at the door, and after the door opens fully, the house is just quiet for seconds tick by, and all of a sudden my dog just bursts through the doorway, and it scared the crap out of me. And that is my first memory of staying up all night or waking up early to read a book, so that's a doozy. Another one recently that I recall being up all night while Josh is trying to sleep was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. Another kind of creepy book, and I know that on this particular night when I was up reading it, it was kind of towards the end, and at one chapter it takes a turn and it gets a little too real for me, and that was the part I was at, and I had to put the book down because I was freaking myself out too much. So yeah, Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled in for a long winter's nap. Choose a book that made you fall asleep. And for this, I have to go with Wicked by Gregory Maguire. This book is so hefty and it's so detailed that it was really difficult for me to get through. I don't even think that I've ever actually completely finished. Nope, look, I have literally that much left of the book. I just can't get through it because every time I start reading it, I get really bored and really tired, and it's no fun. When out on the roof there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Choose a book or book scene that made your heart race. The Merciless by Danielle Vega. This is a young adult horror novel, and there's a lot of elements of like torture, and it ends up being really psychological. And let me tell you, I had to put this book down several times because it got so intense, and it was a page turner. It's a fairly short book, so I read it in one sitting, and it is so good and perfect for the Halloween season. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. Choose an object in a book that was magical or a magical book. I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. Even though I didn't particularly care for this book, it is a young adult, like magical realism kind of contemporary book. And the magical part about this book for me was the explanations of all of Jude's paintings when he was thinking about them in his head. They're just so beautiful, and that was what kept me interested and kept me reading this book, was to read more about his paintings. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. Choose a twinkle-eyed book character that makes you happy. For this, I chose Luna Lovegood from the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, of course. Luna is my absolute favorite character in Harry Potter. I just love how quirky and unique she is, and she always has like an upbeat, positive attitude and gives a new insight to things. So that's what this question made me think of. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. A book that made you fly to another land. The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. Look at this gorgeous cover, by the way. Can I just take a moment? There's like witches and tornadoes, and the tornado is how Dorothy flies to Oz. So I had to go with The Wizard of Oz, guys. I just had to. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. A book creature that you love. I went with Fawkes from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. He is Dumbledore's Phoenix, and this is the book that really made me fall in love with the idea of a phoenix. That's still one of my most favorite mythical creatures. Oh, I just love him so much. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. Choose a character that is more than their first impression. I went with Reese from A Court of Thorns and Roses by Miss Sarah J. Maas. When Reese is first introduced, you think that he's going to be not a great guy, but in the end, I just couldn't help but love him. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. Choose a book character that made you laugh. For this, I chose Nimona from Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. She's just such a spunky character, and I love the dynamic between her and the other characters, and there were several points throughout this book that made me laugh out loud because she is so funny. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. A book that makes you feel safe. Of course, I had to go with the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. This is the book of my childhood. It always makes me feel warm and safe. And also The Great Good Thing by Roderick Townley. I love this book so much. It makes me feel all the warm fuzzy feels, and yeah, I really love these two so much. He spoke not a word but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk. Choose a book that put you to work, a book that you really felt the need to concentrate on. I have a couple for this one. First is You by Carolyn Kepnes. This story is so detail oriented that I had to reread paragraphs multiple times just to figure out what was actually going on and if what I thought was going on actually just happened. Also, The Child Thief by Bram. I still haven't finished this one just because it is so massive and I really have to sit down and give this my full attention, and I just never feel like I have the time to do that. So hopefully I will find the time soon. Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Choose a book with a magnificent ending. I have a couple for this one too. First is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. The ending of this book gave me everything that I needed, and I was almost worried that the ending wasn't going to be how the book ended. I don't want to give away any spoilers because it's such a good book, and if you haven't read it, you need to. And where have you been? Also, A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This is the first book in the trilogy, and I think that the ending was so good for this book. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but it ends with time travel, and it doesn't necessarily end on like a cliffhanger, but it just really gets you set up for the second book in the trilogy, which is phenomenal. And the last one I just couldn't decide on because there's so many that you can choose was Don't Breathe a Word by Jennifer McMahon. This is a magical realism mystery thriller. It's crazy. There's so many twists and turns, and the ending of this book still haunts me. It still haunts me, and it's been almost a year since I read it. It is so freaking good. Yeah, it's so good. And there you guys go. That is the Twas the Night Before Christmas book tag. I don't think I'm going to tag anyone for this, but if you want to do this, you should, because it's Christmas Eve and you should do it. If you want to, you should do what you want to do. So that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your holiday season and a very Merry Christmas. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!